Outer Orange.
Привет! It is that time of year again. Banlist time. Potentially. It's either going to drop tomorrow or tonight, depending on where you're at in terms of time zones, or it's going to drop next week, and we're going to get the announcement for the banlist tonight. What potentially will get hit? So I'm going to go ahead and break it down between DV and Premium and basically give you my thoughts. And these are just my thoughts. I'm not 100% sure. I normally go towards what I think is going to happen more so than what I want. So for D, honestly, I don't even know if we really need anything hit. There's the choice of like following Japan and just having the swirler restriction and the Ava Combine Russia restriction. I don't even know if we need it at this point because it's so late into the format. Are getting a shift. We already have Get Diva out. To be honest, I don't even know if that restriction is going to happen. I personally would not mind specifically the swirler restriction that happened to just kind of lower Jet a little bit. I do think the deck is going to be potent. It's still showing results in JP even to this day. Even with all the sets they have coming out, the deck is still performing. It may not be at peak like at you know the just top of the top. It doesn't change the fact that the deck is still performing, so it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to choice restrict the swirler and GG to kind of force people to actually put all their cards. I know there's Sargon and all this stuff. I do think the deck will still be strong, but I think just taking swirler out might be not the worst idea to kind of give the deck a little love tap, because it's been in meta basically since release. It's been quite a few months now that we've been in this meta, and by the way, if you haven't seen the BSF results, it's been Jet Ava literally all over the place. I don't know, a lot of the stuff that all the results we've seen also been like team-based results. We haven't really seen like a BCS in a while with like all the new stuff that recently was coming out. We're about to head into shop challenge events, and we're about to head into BCS season here in like a month and a half or two, right? So we're kind of starting to get there, so we're probably going to start seeing like a lot of this stuff come out. Last time we've had like real legitimate like this is like singles results has been basically Worlds. It's been a couple months now, so yeah, so it'd be really exciting to see. I know we've had some, I think we had some sprinkles of stuff that's like single-ish, but for the most part I think Worlds is the last like official one that's like this is legitimate, these are the results, this is the meta type of thing, at least for D. Going over to V. Now V is an interesting one. Nobody really knows what's going to happen to V. We all have speculations, thoughts, theories, but we don't really have like concrete evidence of what's happening to V aside from like, you know, patterns. We have patterns, but we don't actually have like legitimate like this is what's happening to V. And that's how it is. A lot of people think it's getting nuked, which is very possible. Based off what we're seeing and based off the patterns, it is very likely that chances are the format's going. However, under speculation that we have no idea what's going on, there's a couple theories. Honestly, with the way the format is right now, I don't actually think anything needs to be touched. Everything that's good is good, and everything that's bad is bad, and nothing is like overwhelmingly unfair. And it just kind of comes down to whoever just sees their pieces first, which is like kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you play Luar, it's like, oh, did you see all your stuff in time to, you know, keep rewriting? Oh, you're playing Thavas, so did you see your Thavas stuff in time? Did you ride Genovius? Did you find your Genovius? All that kind of fun stuff. Honestly, most of the decks are like this. Melody's kind of same. Did you find Pawn and, you know, start cycling through all your stuff? Same with DI. Honestly, all the best 10 decks kind of fall in this category. None of them are like unfair, meaning like it's like, oh my god, this is like just such a crazy deck. It is just so overpowered. It's just like it's not like the Prism Steam Maiden meta that we've had, or even old Luard and old Gurgit meta where there was like a significant difference between like the top 3 decks, like the decks below it. Right now we have like a good majority of like really good decks in like the top-ish tier with this goes into with Leopold and a couple other decks, and then we have like a lot of really bad decks like basically below that. By really bad, I don't mean they're terrible, I just mean the ceiling is just different enough to where like those decks are just the better performing decks, and there's really no reason to touch the other decks. You can if you want to just cope and just have a good time, but if people are actually taking the format seriously, like it's very obvious what the best decks are. And we did see this in BSF results as well. There was definitely like BSF results where everyone was just playing the best decks, and those best decks did top, and that's just how it is. But there's a lot less people kind of showing up to these things, so a lot of weirder stuff has been popping up as well. So it's kind of V's kind of a weird one. Personally, I don't want a big rant. Personally, I'd actually like to see stuff unrestricted. If this really is the last run for V, it'd be just fun to see the format be more like JP format, to be honest with you, and just let people have fun with like these crazy good decks and just kind of have a party. I'm not saying unban everything, but I would like to see the Prism unrestricted with Rosa come back. I know that sounds like toxic as hell, but honestly, with that being said, I also wouldn't mind Percival coming back to one, maybe restricted specifically to the Bluish Flame engine would be kind of cool, or maybe just letting Gurgit do Gurgit stuff, because Gurgit I think would be also like a really just anything to just change the format basically is what I'm getting at. Right now, the only way to change the format is unrestricting stuff. As weird as it sounds, yes, you can technically ban stuff, but what are you gonna ban? Like Luard? Like what are you gonna ban? Like there's no no toxic, aside from like maybe guard restrict cards, there's nothing screaming for a ban. So instead of a ban, maybe unrestricting something wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know. Leave me your thoughts below. If you're liking this content so far, do not forget to like and subscribe. And if you don't like the content, you can always like and subscribe for the cat. Yeah, see, she knew I was about to talk about her. She is aware that you should like and subscribe. So yeah, there's that. And then going over to premium, honestly, for premium, I don't know any preemptive bans. Like, I'm not really familiar with what would be a good preemptive ban, aside from the Vanquisher stuff, which JP got, but we didn't. So hopefully we'll get it too, because I hear that stuff's actually pretty toxic with the spear ride and blah, 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 all this weird stuff they could do. So hopefully there'll be some kind of fixations with that. I don't know how bad it would be. There is one card that's like definitely on everyone's radar right now, and that's Ghidorah. And honestly, I know I made a whole video about it like a year or two back about banning Ghidorah. I think at the time with the card pool that Bugs had at the time, it was fine, and Ruination was definitely more of the issue. But now with Cocktail being present and a couple other cards, a whole token cards, there's been a lot. We've had a lot of cards come out basically since that time. It's been a little over a year, and I think Bugs got enough stuff to where like they can actually keep up with board state, keep up with hand, keep up with resources, and because of that, Ghidorah just becomes way more free, way more accessible, and I think that's a problem. And actually, I think it's a problem to a point where Ghidorah should go to one, I'd probably get banned at this point. It sucks. Like, I don't really want the card going. Like, I know how Bugs players are like with their card. Like, they just have like they've always had to go. The clan has always been weird. So like, I'm sure they're enjoying the fact that they can actually do something with their clan, and I relate to that. Like, I wouldn't want to have something go, but it is just so free. It's so obnoxious and locks out so many clans for no apparent reason, just from like counterblasting and flipping basically. And if they change the ruling of how the card works, where you can at least G-guard, I'd maybe be like a little bit more towards it like staying. But the fact that you just sit there and you just can't do anything, and while you're calling tokens, calling restanders, multi-attacking, and doing all this stuff, and then you as the player have to constantly find rewrites, which you're not always gonna find. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. The card is just a mess, and it's ridiculous that card can just do so much. And I'm telling you, with the D card pool added, the recent D card pool with the generics that have been getting thrown in, the deck is pretty potent right now. On top of Cocktail, playing around Cocktail is like really annoying all the time, because you're playing around Cocktail, you're playing around Ghidorah, you're playing around rewriting, you're playing around so much stuff just to like just barely play the game. And honestly, it's kind of a toxic environment. So I personally think the card can go. Other subject, the other elephant in the room, and that is of course Highlander. Highlander is very potent on the English side. It's not so crazily like played over in JP. They do play it. It's not that they don't, but like I feel like their format is just a little bit more casual when it comes to premium. I don't know. I don't live there, like, so I'm just going off of speculation here. But based off what I see, like the kind of decks they take, it definitely feels like they're kind of more like just enjoying like the cards more so than they're trying to like compete to like get first place. And with that being said, Highlander, honestly, personally, I think just restricting Ranger to 1 would be the solution. It would kill the deck just enough to where it's playable, but it's not like intolerable anymore. It would basically just be even more high roll than it already is, and you only have 1 copy of Reindeer, so that's it. Like that's the only copy you get. That, you know, like you can't write down anymore, really rewrite anymore, because you don't want to rewrite into a different Vanguard, right? You want to stay on her, so the only rewrite you would get is off of the top 10. Make Hotruda like way more fair, because like I said, you'd actually have to think through what you want to do. It would give you access to run like more, I guess, ride targets, but again, like it's a one of that you would have to find, so half the time you wouldn't even be seeing her. You'd probably be writing it's like Anj instead or something. Maybe you'd be upping Anj, because Anj would be the next go-to, to be honest. I think long story short, the deck would just really fall off very easily. A lot of people thought like Q-Tire was like the real main issue. It really wasn't. It was definitely the Reindeer with the Helltruda combination, and something in there has to go. I'm personally more towards just restricting Reindeer to 1 than choice restricting Helltruda and Reindeer, and the reason being is that there's absolutely nothing to stride into otherwise, and the deck would just play Reindeer anyway. You would just instead of striding, you would just play Reindeer, and then you would just G-guard. Like, it wouldn't change too much. And then on top of that, we're getting the history collection stuff, which is the Lores package. You could just ride Lores and then ride Reindeer, and then have like four force markers basically, and then whatever else on top of that you get, like or 3 force markers, then you would have more as you keep going. So to be honest, like it wouldn't change the deck too much, but restricting Reindeer to 1 would actually change the deck and just kind of keep it actually interesting. But that's basically it. I don't, to be honest, like I said, I'm not as well versed into how history collection is going to look like, and if there's any other restrictions that need to happen or unrestrictions. I'm not really too sure. Premium has been like the thing I've been touching the least. I've been touching it, but I've been touching it the least amount, so my knowledge in there is not as good. However, playing a lot of Highlander and Grand Blue, so at least my knowledge in there is pretty secure enough to at least know and know what the decks that I've been facing, all that kind of fun stuff. So We'll see. We'll see. As a Highlander player, I think reindeer to one is the solution. That's all I got to for y'all today. Stream is tonight, and I will be streaming it tonight. So check me out on twitch.tv/OuterOrange. All the kind of fun stuff will be there. Probably be creating a bingo sheet in preparation for the summer stuff. I'm actually really excited. It is in the middle of the night, but I was up last night, so hopefully it'll force me to be up tonight and be able to, maybe hopefully I'll stay up. I probably won't be as awake as I am now. I'll probably be a little bit more tired, but yeah, we'll be bingoing all the kind of fun stuff. So join us on twitch.tv/OuterOrange. And if you need any cards or anything else, Festival Collection is dropping pretty soon. So 50cards.shop, code orange, all that kind of great stuff. Get your cards. We are about to potentially get a ban list pretty soon, so you know there'll be more decks to rotate, more cards that you may need. Code orange, 50cards.shop, all that great stuff. But yeah, peace out, guys. Let's be honest. See you guys in future videos. Stay awesome, stay great. Bye.